been a journey to get where I
Michael
am.
Bennett
And I didn't get here alone.
joining leadership, I think, in the years to come. A very
People who
popular
gave me
figure.
options, kept me on
And
track.
more about Colorado as a
And through
state
it all,
after this.
my retirement never got left behind.
Leader
So today,
of the Democrats.
I'm prepared for anything we may want tomorrow to be.
Every someday needs a plan. Let's talk about your old 401k today.
Lobbying is about foresight, about anticipating your opponent's moves and devising countermeasures.
How does she manage that?
Our system is rotten, and I will fight to change it.
You can't possibly win this. Start an inquisition.
I've used whatever resource I have.
You crossed the line.
You know the word annihilate? It means reduce to nothing.
It's about making sure you surprise them, and they don't surprise you.
Miss Sloan, rated R.
It's so nice to meet you. Give it time.
Don't let me be misunderstood.
Good Behavior premieres next Tuesday at 9 on TNT.
If you have people who depend on you, you need life insurance. Plain and simple. That's why Haven Life offers ample, affordable, plain language term life insurance that can be purchased entirely online in minutes, all without the need for a medical exam for qualified, healthy applicants. See how easy life insurance can be. Apply now and get an instant decision at havenlife.com.
What if there was a way to prevent break-ins before they occurred? Home burglaries start with a ring of the doorbell. I invented rings you can see and speak to whoever's at your home from your smartphone. Can I help you? With Ring, you're always home, which is why we've earned over 3,000 five-star Amazon reviews. Like Nick, who writes, Ring is awesome. Easy to set up, easy to use. Available at ring.com.
Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown. New episodes Sundays at 9 on CNN.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. CNN projects Donald Trump will win Ohio with its 18 electoral votes. A relief for Donald Trump. No Republican has ever won the White House without Ohio. He has won Ohio with its 18 electoral votes. Let's take a look at the Electoral College map to see where it stands now. Big win for Donald Trump in the state of Ohio. Right now, he is ahead of Hillary Clinton. He has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 109 electoral votes. You need 270 to win the White House. Donald Trump is ahead of Hillary Clinton right now. Jake and Dana. Jake, this is a big win. He needed Ohio. He got Ohio.
Iowa and Ohio always looked like the first states of the Obama states that Donald Trump would be able to pick off. But I didn't know, based on polling and based on how Democrats talked about Ohio and how Hillary Clinton campaigned there. Remember, it was just a few nights ago she was there with Beyonce and Jay-Z campaigning. I didn't know it was going to be so early that we're going to be able to call Ohio for Donald Trump. I always thought it was going to fall into his side of the aisle. It is remarkable what we're seeing here, not just Ohio, but all over the country. In Philadelphia, I was just looking, the returns coming in. Hillary Clinton with 81% of the vote in Philadelphia as of right now. That is not really all that good for Philadelphia. She should be doing much, much better in the city of Philadelphia. The margins where she really needs to be driving up the vote for a very strong Democratic performance in those counties, she's not getting that.
Dana, a lot of stunned Democrats out there right now.
That's right. And let's just focus on Ohio for a second, what you just projected for Donald Trump as a bellwether. We've all talked about the fact that no Republican has won the White House without winning Ohio. But given where we are tonight, and another interesting statistic is that no Republican has ever won Ohio without winning the White House since Richard Nixon in 1960. So there is a very long history of Ohio predicting the president, no matter where, which party he is in. The other point I think is important to make is that Donald Trump, we are projecting to win Ohio, no thanks to the sitting Republican governor in Ohio, John Kasich, Donald Trump's former rival for the presidential nomination. John Kasich made it very, very clear, very loudly, that he did not think Trump was the right person for the party, the right person to lead the country, sat out of the convention, even though it was in his home state.
And we should also note, Donald Trump obviously all the victories that Donald Trump has this evening, Donald Trump gets the credit for. But we should also note that when there's all this talk about how Hillary Clinton had a ground game and Donald Trump did not, the Republican National Committee has had boots on the ground for years now,
right.
and they have had a great ground game, and Donald Trump has been using that. So
He
it's
was
not
the
as
beneficiary.
yeah, it's not as though all these victories that we're seeing came just because
you got a lot of help from
you
the
got a
RNC.
lot of help from the RNC. Absolutely.
All right, we've got another key race alert right now. Let's update all the votes where they stand right now. We'll start in Michigan. Almost a third of the vote is in Michigan. Donald Trump has a 35,000-plus vote lead over Hillary Clinton. 16% of the vote is now in the state of Michigan. Donald Trump ahead there. In Wisconsin, 42% of the vote is in. He's ahead narrowly, 28,000 votes over Hillary Clinton. 10 electoral votes at stake in Wisconsin. In Florida, 95% of the vote is in. Donald Trump has an impressive lead. In Florida, 135,000-plus vote lead over Hillary Clinton. 29 electoral votes are at stake in Florida. In Arizona, more than half of the vote is in. Trump has a lead, more than 33,000 vote lead over Hillary Clinton. 11 electoral votes at stake in the state of Arizona. Let's continue. Let's go to North Carolina right now. Donald Trump, he has an impressive lead there with 84% of the vote in, more than 143,000, almost 144,000 vote lead over Hillary Clinton. 15 electoral votes in North Carolina. Almost half of the vote is in Georgia. Very impressive lead for Donald Trump. 347,000 vote lead over Hillary Clinton. He's doing well, very well in Georgia with its 16 electoral votes. In New Hampshire, almost half of the vote is in. Trump is ahead there as well. More than 10,000 vote lead over Hillary Clinton. 4 electoral votes in New Hampshire. Every electoral vote is critically important. In Virginia, 87% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton has a lead, 55,000 plus vote lead over Donald Trump. She's certainly relieved at this stage. 87% of the vote is in Virginia. 13 electoral votes at stake there. We've got some more results coming in from Colorado. First, 65% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton has a 92,000 vote lead over Donald Trump in Colorado with its 9 electoral votes. In Iowa, 19% of the vote is now in. Hillary Clinton has a pretty good lead, 54,000 plus vote lead over Donald Trump in Iowa. And in Pennsylvania, more than half of the vote is in. She's got an impressive lead there of more than 167,000 votes in Pennsylvania. So she's doing well, relatively speaking, in Pennsylvania, Iowa, and Colorado. Let's take a look at the Electoral College map to see where things stand. Donald Trump is ahead. He right now, we've projected, he has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 109 electoral votes. 270 needed to win the White House. Trump ahead right now. Let's go over to John King. You're studying a lot of these battleground states so closely. Let's start in Wisconsin.
You start in Wisconsin right now. It's gotten a little tighter, but 48 to 46. You could round that up to 49 if you want. So you're looking and you're counting the math here. Number one, just in a few places you're looking, you come down to Milwaukee. This is a danger sign for the Clinton campaign in the sense that 17% of the state population, the Democratic base center, and they're up to 82% of the vote. So more votes to be counted. Most of them, we see 65-30. Most of them, we presume, will go to Secretary Clinton, and it is the big population center. But you're getting close. You're getting close to the end there. So you start to look out here. Out here, you see the Eau Claire area here, only 1% of the vote. This is critical. It's tiny, 1.7% of the population. But you're starting to go back. You're looking for where are places. The President Obama ran up healthy margins where you know there are Democratic votes. Doesn't mean she gets them, but they exist. The question is, does she? We're waiting for the votes to be counted here as you start to go through. Otherwise, you look at this. I just want you to just look at this map for a minute. This is where we are now. Focus on where the red is. Now, when you go back 4 years, you see a lot. See this blue? President Obama winning in this part of the state right here. And you come back in here. See all this red? So you're looking at places like, you start at Winnebago County, 50% for Donald Trump. You move over here. These are tiny, tiny counties, but it adds up. You start to go through them. These were blue 4 years ago, and now you're looking at them at the moment. We're still counting votes. So a lot of these counties, some I just went to, where was I? 10% of the votes there. So that doesn't, those numbers don't mean much. But if you're watching flipping counties within states, you look at that, all that blue down here. Look at all that blue down here 4 years ago. It's a lot of red at the moment. And so 42% statewide counted. We got a ways to go. It's more than competitive, especially at only 42% of the vote. But this is
he's got a 30,000 vote lead right now.
But this is a tough battle again. And this is. Anyone say a month ago? Anyone say a month ago we were going to be counting the votes in Wisconsin late into the night? Number one. And again, the criticism is going to be here that even if she pulls some of these states out, the criticism is going to be that you ignored your friends. These are friendly Democratic states that have been Democratic for quite a long time, and look how close they are tonight. That's not to take anything away from Donald Trump. Donald Trump went into these states, he campaigned in these states, he's selling his economic message in these states, he's selling change in these states. But these are not states where the Clinton campaign was repeatedly visiting in the parts of the campaign when they could have and should have. So you're looking at 51-43 right now in Oakland County. Just trying to see what's left out there, Wolf, as I go through some of these states, just trying to do the math of is it possible. We were down here earlier, and it was much closer. A bunch of votes came in Wayne County. That's what made Michigan.
A third of the vote in Wayne County now in.
And Michigan's a little tighter because of that, because this went back to a more traditional Wayne County. But still, when you go back in time, Donald Trump at just shy of 34% there. Mitt Romney got 26%. So, again, we'll see where we get. We're only at 34%, and it has changed. Let's see how we get as it comes in. Wayne County, again, notoriously late for coming in later. I'm not criticizing Wayne County. It's just later as they come into the state. But you're looking at this. Donald Trump is doing what he has to do. Again, compared to 4 years ago. See all that red up here in the Upper Peninsula, up here in the northern part of what they call the mitten, if you will. See, put the map, the hand up there. See, running it up. Still some places up here where President Obama did well that at the moment Donald Trump is leading, and that can make the difference. Again, it's a tiny little county, but that 1,000 votes can make the difference in a close state when you get down to a battleground like this.
Goes to show you every vote counts. Let's go to Colorado right now.
Colorado is close.
65% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton is ahead by, what, about 89,000 votes?
About 89,000 votes, and so you're looking at what are we missing. And so, again, most of this state is won here. Unless this is very close, then the smaller counties fill it in. So let's just check around here. Adams County, 9% of the state population. These Denver suburbs are critically important to how this state has shifted from reliably Republican to swing state to what many Democrats had hoped would be leaning blue. 50% of the vote there. Just want to go back and check. 57% for President Obama. This is a pattern we're seeing now in a lot of places where Donald Trump is running more competitive. You move down here to Arapahoe County. Vibrant Tea Party here. It's a Democratic county, but there is a vibrant Tea Party as well. It's a tug-of-war county, a swing county. Hillary Clinton at 53%. That's more in line with the Obama performance. I just want to, Wolf, come over here. She's doing fine in Denver City. Check the math, the numbers of the turnout. Jefferson County, this is one of your classic swing counties in the United States. She's winning at 50% there. 51%. So this one, Colorado is filling in a way that I'm not saying we haven't called this state yet. We've got a lot of votes to count, but this one is filling in a way. Colorado, you look at the 5-point margin there, right?
She's built up her lead to about 91,000 votes right now. Let's go to Iowa.
I just wanted to check. That's a 5-point state, and that one's filling in. Is got a ways to go, but it looks like it's filling in the way the Democrats expected it to. Iowa, we have Clinton ahead early, but I just want to be very cautious here. Number one, I don't know a lot of Democrats in Iowa who are confident they're going to pull Iowa out. Doesn't mean they won't. She has this lead here now. We're up at 21%. But remember, a lot of what you see empty here, especially out in the western part of the state, is going to fill in red. The question is, as we just went through to the east in Wisconsin and Michigan, these are blue for President Obama. When we get there later tonight, let's see what they are, because that could be the difference if this stays close. But right now, the votes that we do have are in Democratic population centers. So she's running it up big in the Iowa City area. She's running it up big in Cedar Rapids, but it's only 1% of the vote. And we have Polk County as your biggest center here, where Des Moines is. She's running it up big. So if you're the Democrats and you're looking at the map, you like what you see right now, but we're at 21%. We'll see.
She's up by more than 50,000 votes right now.
This could be when you pull out and look at this. If you're looking at this, number one, if Donald Trump holds this and this, she can't afford to lose both of those. If she gets one of those back, then we could be in a game of chess.
To 270.
What's her path to 270? Well, her path to 270 was this. Let me switch maps here for you. This is where we started the night, but these were all lean. These were all lean Democratic. At the moment, Pennsylvania looks solid. We're still counting the votes.
Change the states to reflect where the vote is now.
But right now, Donald Trump leads here. Donald Trump leads here. We're not ready to. This one's still early, but Donald Trump leads. So let's just put it in the current state of play. Okay, Donald Trump leads here. Oops, sorry. And Donald Trump leads here. So we were talking all in the last couple of weeks that Donald Trump had such a narrow path, like drawing to an inside straight flush.
Take away Iowa.
Tables have flipped.
Take away Iowa right now. Hillary Clinton slightly ahead. And Arizona, give them Arizona.
We'll make it a toss-up. If you give Trump this one, I think most people expect she'll get this one based on early voting. But even then, we took Iowa away, if Donald Trump holds these, and this gives her Virginia, this scenario gives her Virginia, which we're not done yet, but she has pulled ahead there in Virginia. But if Donald Trump holds Florida, where he leads, holds North Carolina, where he leads, we've called Ohio, and so this comes down, again, the Trump campaign said from day one, we are going to prove you all wrong, and we're going to win with a Rust Belt strategy. Early on, their anchor was Pennsylvania. That's the irony of this, in the sense that Pennsylvania at the moment, again, we haven't called it yet, Wolf, but Pennsylvania at the moment, Clinton has the healthy lead. Michigan and Wisconsin are the flashing red alerts at the Clinton War Room right now.
John, we have another major projection right now. And CNN can project that Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, will go to Hillary Clinton. 13 electoral votes in Virginia. An important win for Hillary Clinton in the state of Virginia, a state that President Barack Obama carried twice. She is ahead in Virginia. She will carry Virginia. Let's take a look at where the Electoral College map stands right now with her win in Virginia. Donald Trump is still ahead. He has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 122 electoral votes, 270 needed to win the White House. You see the red states, the states that have gone for Donald Trump, the blue states that have gone for Hillary Clinton, the yellow states. No projection, too early to call. We have another key race alert right now. As John King said, it comes down to Michigan and Wisconsin. Let's take a look at Michigan first. 37% of the vote is in. Donald Trump still maintains a lead of almost 74,000 votes over Hillary Clinton, 49.5% to 45.5%, 16 electoral votes at stake in Michigan. In Wisconsin, almost half of the vote is in. Donald Trump is ahead there as well. He's ahead by almost 27,000 votes over Hillary Clinton, 48.3% to 46.5%. 10 electoral votes. 10 electoral votes in Wisconsin at stake. Let's go over to Jake. Jake, this is a moment that the markets are watching very closely right now, because few people thought Donald Trump would be doing as well at this stage as he's doing.
The markets don't like instability, and they also are unsure of what Donald Trump is going to do when it comes to trade. And we mentioned earlier that the Dow futures were down 500. Now they're down more than 600. But we should really just take a moment here and look at this. Pollsters predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to have not just a victory, but that she was going to win an electoral landslide. Not only is that not happening, it is entirely possible that Donald Trump is truly redrawing the map the way that he said he was going to. He was going to redraw the map from Wisconsin and Michigan to Ohio and Iowa, and winning over those white working class voters that feel the Democratic Party and Republican elites in Washington have ignored them for too long. Right now, he seems on his way to actually doing that. And in a word, it was Donald Trump versus almost all the experts. And as of right now, it looks like Donald Trump was right. Yeah, he's doing something amazing right now. As he himself said, he said, don't believe all those polls.
That's right. And let's just talk about the Midwest, upper Midwest, Michigan and Wisconsin. People initially thought when Donald Trump went into Michigan that it was a fool's errand because it was such a safely blue state. Then the numbers started to shrink. I started to hear, I'm sure you did too, from Democrats. There you go. Look at Michigan right now. He's up. Donald Trump is up by 57,420 votes, with just 38% of the vote in. But still, this is a blue state. This is the state that the Clinton campaign should have had in the bank a long time ago. And this is the other thing that is really stunning to Democrats. Wisconsin, I think we can put that up there as well. Wisconsin is a state that has not gone Republican in decades. They didn't spend a lot of time there. Donald Trump did do some trips there, canceled one that he was supposed to do last week, but he did certainly more than Republicans thought that he should have. People thought he was, frankly, bananas to go to Wisconsin as much as he did. Clearly, he wasn't. They knew that there was something possible to take there. He also has been traveling with the Republican National Committee chair, a Wisconsin native who also knows the state. But these are part of the Democrats' reliably blue states. And Donald Trump, as you said so well, is re-scrambling the map clearly with disaffected voters who are so done with Washington, and people likely, we'll see when we get the exit polls, who really haven't been out for any candidate, much less a Republican, in years.
We've talked about this for the whole year. Donald Trump having one core message, which is Washington is not working for you. It's a cesspool. It's not protecting your jobs. It's not protecting you from terrorists. It's not protecting you when it comes to illegal immigration. It's not keeping the border safe. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's been wrapped around that core message. But apparently, to millions and millions of Americans, that message was more important than all the other stuff wrapped around it, even when that other stuff was perceived to be very offensive to millions of other
Americans. And he
Americans.
clearly has energized a lot of voters out there that may not have necessarily have voted, but he got to them and he energized them. John, you're taking a much closer look at Michigan. Let's take a look at Michigan right now.
Taking a closer look at it and emailing people in both campaigns and people I know in these states who aren't affiliated, at least directly. They're not on the payrolls of any of these campaigns. The Democrats are obviously supporting Clinton. Most of the Republicans are backing Trump, although some of them are actually pretty agnostic about Trump when you think about it. So can she come back in Michigan is the question, right? We're at 38%. 49 to 46, you're looking at that 20 plus 40, so about 60,000 votes, just shy of 60,000 votes there. If you're looking, can she come back in Michigan? The answer is yes, she can. Not that she will. The answer is yes, she can. You look at all this red and you think that's nuts. How is that possible? I just want to show you a couple of things. Number one, you come down here. 3% of the state population. We're at 63% of the vote. So there's more votes to come here. This is the smaller basket of potential Democratic votes, but there are some votes here. The Clinton War Room says they're confident. The rest of this is overwhelmingly Democratic. We'll see if they're right. You come down here. We're going to come over here to Detroit, Wayne County. This is still a stunner to me that this is that close. It was much closer earlier on. You're looking at 61 to 35 there. You go back here, 73-26. That's where this has to end up for Hillary Clinton to win the state of Michigan. Can it? What the Clinton War Room says, and I just checked with a labor activist I know out here just to be sure that we're not getting spun too much, and he said he generally agrees that most of this vote is from the outer parts of Wayne County. You're in the more suburban parts out of way, and that we have not gotten the large pocket of votes that we will get from Detroit. So everyone says that's the case. If that's the case, there's a lot of math to be done when these votes come in, if they turned out. If. It's a big if. So when you start doing the math, is it possible? We're only at 40% of the state vote, 39% statewide. And she is down, she just pulled a little bit closer there. Is that what?
About 60,000 votes.
60,000 votes. So are there 60,000 votes in Detroit alone? Are there 60,000 votes in Detroit alone? Of course there are. And so we have a ways to go. It is stunning that we're having this conversation based on how we thought this campaign was going to go. And it could be equally stunning if you're sitting in the Trump campaign or the Clinton campaign headquarters. You're looking at these two long, deep blue states, red right now. It is possible they could both turn as we count the votes. Remember what happened in Virginia. Donald Trump led it all night long. He led, and then the Democratic areas came in and it flipped. Is that possible in these states? Yes, it is. Guess what? That will decide the presidency, whether that happens or not. Because if you look at the way this map is filling in right now, yes, Florida is very close, but Trump's lead is pretty healthy. You go down here and look at it. In Florida, the way
130,000.
Right, the way we've gotten used to Florida, the closest state in 2012, 50-49, when you're looking at 2 points, or that's a little less than 2 points, I guess, but that's normal for Florida, and most people on the ground here, they're checking everywhere, trust me. They're checking everywhere, but even Republicans who don't like Trump in Florida think he's got this one. We'll see how it goes as we go forward. Let's check on North Carolina. That's a 3+ point lead there, 4-point lead. It's 4-point lead. We're at 90%, so you're starting to look, where are these votes? That's not good news for the Clinton campaign. When you look at North Carolina, 100% is in here. 77% here, but it's a much smaller piece of the population. But there are some Democratic votes still out there. Let's come over here. There are Democratic votes out here. If they're in here, the central city part, where you're predominantly, I mean, she's winning this by a lopsided margin anyway. There are parts of this county where she's probably winning at 70% plus. If they're out there, is it possible? So that's a lot of math to make up. If you look at the margin so far at 87%, her margin is what, 130,000 votes. You're not going to get. You only got 13% to go, so you're not going to get that many there. So you're looking at this and you're thinking, again, we're not ready to call this state by any means. We're going to be counting for a long time. But if you're the Trump campaign headquarters, you're thinking, we think we got Florida. We think we got North Carolina. We know we have Ohio. This is what you're going to look at right here. If Clinton can turn them back, and I'm going to keep checking to see if the vote count goes up to 44% in Michigan, you still see this lead. We're going to wait for this a while. And again, we could be counting votes in California, Wolf, when this comes in. This is how it goes sometimes. We're going to wait on this. We're only at 39%, but 39% is significant.
In Wayne County.
Yeah, in the sense that, are they here? if they're in here,
18% of the state.
18% of the state. That's what I'm saying. So if the votes that we have are from here out here, it's less Democratic. I don't want to call it Republican. It's less Democratic. But you see this here. So we're going to wait on this. And again, the Clinton campaign says they're not panicking. Trust me, they're concerned. They say they're not panicking because they're told that's where the votes are. I checked in with a labor activist who says they're generally right, although he's a little skeptical. There are enough of them. We'll see how that plays out. I just want to peek at this, and then I want to go up. Wolf will come back to me in a second. We got to go to you for projection.
We have another major projection right now. CNN can now project that the state of Colorado will go to Hillary Clinton with its 9 electoral votes. Hillary Clinton wins Colorado. She's ahead in the popular vote right now. You see 67% of the vote in. She's winning by more than 86,000 votes. 9 electoral votes in Colorado. Another important win for Hillary Clinton. She needs all of these wins right now. Let's take a look at the electoral college map. Donald Trump has 167 electoral votes compared to Hillary Clinton's 131 electoral votes. Remember, you need 270 to win the White House. I keep saying that, but that's the magic number, 270. Another important win for Hillary Clinton in Colorado. Let's go back to John and talk about New Hampshire right now. More than half of the vote, John, in New Hampshire is now in.
54% of the vote in. You see Donald Trump with this lead, 3-point lead, just switched up 54. We're still at 3, just a little slight change in the math there. So what's that, 11,000 votes right in that ballpark there?
So Trump is in the lead. He's got a lead there. Are there any encouraging signs outstanding for Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire?
I wouldn't call anything encouraging for Hillary Clinton at the moment, to be honest with you, my friend. But yes, are there places when you look at New Hampshire that tells you this was a Republican county 4 years ago, but this is where I meant to tap Nashua City. Nashua City is just shy of 7% of the population. This is a Democratic area if she wins it. We've seen Donald Trump flipping some areas tonight. If you go back in time to 2012, 56 to 42, 6% of the state population. So if you look at what the margin is right now, there are enough votes even just right here if she performs. That's been the question, and we've gone state by state to see, is she performing in these Democratic areas? That's one of them. I want to come over here to the seacoast. Sorry, I touched Maine. When you get right out here to the edge, let me stretch it out a little bit and make it easier for me. Portsmouth, another area here, just shy of 2% of the state population. An overwhelmingly Democratic area. We have no votes counted here yet. So let me just keep it on 2016 so I don't make a mistake. And so you come back. Are there places? Yes. Our friend Mr. Tapper can tell us about Hanover, New Hampshire. There's a famous university there. Just 1% of the state population, overwhelmingly Democratic area. So we got a lot of counting to do still in the state of New Hampshire. But at 50, we're at 54% of the count. It's a 3-point race right now. The challenge is quite simple. In these Democratic areas, Portsmouth, Nashua, smaller population up in Hanover. I just want to see what's happening here. She's at 6 points now. We're at 92% in Manchester. So this is 8% of the state population here. 50% for Secretary Clinton. This is an issue we're seeing consistently. Donald Trump's appeal to blue-collar voters in gritty Manchester, New Hampshire, 55-44, 11 points for the president 4 years ago, 6 points for Secretary Clinton right now. That's what gets you the tighter race. You move into the traditionally Democratic areas. If you go back to 2008, remember we thought Obama was going to win the New Hampshire primary? This is where she pulled it out, right here in Manchester. At the last minute, her team, her organization pulled it out in Manchester. They know this state very well, and they're not doing what they need to do in Manchester City right now. There's still room for her to come back. Don't get me wrong. A 3-point race. There's a lot of Democratic areas. Just look at what's left on the map. If you see it, it's kind of scattershot. It's hard to follow. It kind of looks like a tablecloth in a diner, if you will. But you see a lot of blue. See all this blue down here? This is 2012. You see all the blue down here in the corner. We don't have those votes yet.
So she might still be able to overcome that 12,000 vote or so disadvantage she has.
Yes, she can, and we will know when we see results come in from Nashua and Portsmouth. These are smaller communities. You're going to get 50 votes in this town, 100 or 200 in the next town. And Donald Trump's, there's a lot of Donald Trump territory still here to fill in on the map. Don't get me wrong. Well, there's a lot. If you want to go back, there's a lot of red still to be filled in. From 4 years ago. So there's more votes for Trump. But the big population centers that we don't have yet are Nashua and Portsmouth, big relative in the context of New Hampshire. But there's room. No question there's room. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button there. There's room for her to come back without a doubt.
Let's go to Pennsylvania right now. She's ahead in Pennsylvania. Take a look. She's ahead by only, less than 100,000 votes in Pennsylvania with 66% of the vote counted.
The way the rest of this night is going, She's happy, Wolf, in the sense that, no, it's odd in the sense that we thought, if we were talking about this, and our good friend Jeffrey Lord is from Pennsylvania, consistently we have thought that this would be the test. This is where the Trump campaign told us would be the big test. We're not done. We're not done here, but this one has been blue. She has led consistently throughout the night. So you look at where we're talking about here, and this is, so she has to come out of Philadelphia County with about 400,000. She'd prefer 400.
She's got 400,000.
Yeah, she'd prefer 440,000, 450,000.
She's ahead by 418,000 votes right now.
So you can win Pennsylvania with that in a presidential election. That's almost the minimum. I hate, it looks so lopsided, but that's almost the minimum. She's at 82%. You come back here, again, you go back 4 years ago, 85%. And so I just want to see, it's at below 1%. So, so there's not much of a drain from the third-party candidates there at all. That's okay. She would like that to be stronger. The question is, how's she doing out here in the suburbs? And when you match this up right now, this one looks, if you're a Democrat, this one looks right.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it looks right, if you will. If you look, 57% in Montgomery County, 57% in Montgomery County. The president was 50-49 in Bucks County. Hillary Clinton, the third-party candidate's drawn a little bit there. It's a one-point race. That's consistent. It's a one-point race there. Just want to move over here and look. Chester County, she's winning this. Actually, this is significant. If she holds this, it's only 32% of the vote. This is where Melania Trump went to give her speech. Berwyn, Pennsylvania is here. It used to be Republican. It's trending Democratic. Mitt Romney won it just barely 4 years ago. So when you look at Pennsylvania, if there's a place they are reasonably optimistic about in the Clinton campaign headquarters, it's Pennsylvania. But we're only up to 67% of the vote. So you start looking out here, again, in the central part of the state is going to be for Trump. But that's 50-44. He's holding her own in a place like that. But we're at 100% here. We're at 94% here. I'm trying to see if there are places out here where we know there, even if it's hundreds at a time, if there are a lot more votes for Trump to make up. And you see, well, there are some small ones, but it's tiny here. You're looking at the votes.
You can just screen it to show us the outstanding vote that's still out there.
Here.
We have this new feature.
You come, oops, bring it back. I just touched. She gets a little touch happy at this time of night. Let's see if we can get the percentage. Here we go. So we just come over to, let's just use 75 ballpark. So you're looking at the places where we're still under 75% of the vote counted. So you come in here, you're at 59%. So, again, it's a relatively small population center, but there are some more votes for Donald Trump as well. You're looking, Allegheny County, I just wanted to check this one. As you can see, it's over that. They're at 91%, Clinton winning. So more votes for her, but not a lot because that one is counted. So you're looking at what your calculation at home or in the war room is, okay, what's left? And you see a lot of blue areas here that are left, and these are more populated. These areas are more populated than these areas. So if you're looking at this, you would think your hunch off the top is there are more Democratic votes out there than Republican votes because these are bigger population centers than the Republican areas. So if you're in the Clinton campaign headquarters, you're reasonably happy with the Pennsylvania map, although at this point of the night, given what's happening in Michigan and Wisconsin, you're nervous about everything. But that one makes you feel a little bit better when you look at that. And I just want to check back out here. 46%. Moved a little closer, I think, from the last time we looked at this. I'm just going to keep looking down here. We're up to 50% in Wayne County. This is going to decide the state.
Let's screen Michigan right now and see where the outstanding vote is.
Let's bring it up.
Where there's less than 75% so far reported.
75%, and so there's a lot.
Trump is up by 53,000 in the state.
Up by 53,000 votes, and so you see a lot of red, right? That means we have a lot of votes still to be counted in these places. Now, again, it's not a huge vote count, but this matters. This matters. A couple thousand votes matter. So as we go through, they're up to 67%. So he's not going to get a couple thousand more to cushion, but he gets a few more hundred. So that's the calculation you're making. The hundreds you're going to get in these conservative, smaller counties, can the Democrats make up for that? That's a lot of votes with what's left to come out of Detroit. And this has to be, when we get more from Wayne County, it has to be overwhelming, or else she's in trouble. I mean, she's in trouble at the moment in Michigan. The only way to solve her trouble is to have an overwhelming surge when we get more votes out of Wayne County. You look at other places, we looked at this a little bit earlier. Ingham County, it's Lansing, 63%. So there are more votes. It's, again, that's good math for Clinton, but you're almost two-thirds of the way there. So there's more, and there's a lot more for Donald Trump to come in these smaller counties, without a doubt. And so we're going to be counting in Michigan for a while. Let's do the same test as we go over to Wisconsin. Again, most of the areas we're waiting for are Republican, which bodes well for Donald Trump. At least they're Republican so far. There's by no means guaranteed that some of these won't flip if more votes come in. But if you're looking at them at the moment, they're
I
Republican.
want to remind our viewers that we're getting ready for the top of the hour. Polls are closing in 5 more states, including California, Oregon, Washington State, Hawaii, and Idaho. We'll see if we can make some projections.
Let's quickly look at western Wisconsin here. I just want you to look here. This is what we're waiting for. These are counties in Wisconsin where less than 75% of the vote has been counted, right? So we're waiting out there. This is now. That's 4 years ago. That's blue. That's all blue 4 years ago. That's red right now. And so if that stays that way, that is the redefining, at least for one election cycle, of the American electoral map as we know it. That is a crack in the blue wall. If that stays, I want to keep emphasizing if, because if you talk to the Clinton campaign headquarters, they tell you, and let's see, Milwaukee's over 75% now. So I just want to come back to the full count and see, because they have been telling us that they can get votes out of here. It's at 84%. Again, if it's Center City, Milwaukee, it could be overwhelming. Is it enough to make it up? You see what she's doing in Milwaukee County? That is overwhelming. So it's almost so. We'll see what happens here. The Clinton campaign says they can make it up here. When you're at 84%, that's when you start to get a little bit skeptical that the math is there. The other place the Clinton campaign tells us they can make this up is the all-important Dane County. 9% of the state population, Madison, University of Wisconsin. This is a liberal Democratic base area of the state. As you can see, she's winning 68, rounding up, not down, 68 to 27. So half of the vote left. Is it possible? You see the gap. If she can double that, there are a lot of votes to be made up, enough to counter that. But she's running out of options. It has to come from here, it has to come from there, and then a small smattering, because there are still some votes, Wolf, for Donald Trump to make up in these rural areas. Tug of war, Wisconsin, tug of war, Michigan. We knew Florida and North Carolina would be tug of wars. This is most unexpected.
It certainly is a huge, huge surprise to so many people out there. All right, with the next few seconds, polls will close in 5 western states, including California, with this whopping 55 electoral votes. In California, we're getting ready to make some major projections. Let's get ready for that right now. And CNN projects Hillary Clinton will carry the state of California with its 55 electoral votes. A huge win in California for Hillary Clinton. She will also carry Hawaii with its 4 electoral votes. Hillary Clinton wins in Hawaii. Donald Trump, he also has a win. Donald Trump will win in Idaho with its 4 electoral votes. Another win for Donald Trump in Idaho. All right, let's take a look at the Electoral College map now. With these, Oregon and Washington State, by the way, too early to call in those states. Oregon and Washington State. You see it right now. Now let's take a look at the Electoral College map. Hillary Clinton has now gone ahead. She has now gone ahead with the huge win in California. She has 190 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 171 electoral votes, 270 needed to win the White House. Hillary Clinton is now ahead in the all-important Electoral College map count. Are they breathing a little bit easier over there at Clinton headquarters?
I don't think so, to be completely honest, because at some point in this night, as we watch the returns come in from states such as Wisconsin and Michigan, the Clinton headquarters was very confident that they had. That was their firewall. Remember, Wisconsin wasn't even part of the conversation. It was Michigan, it was Pennsylvania and Virginia and New Hampshire. When these returns come in, you see, okay, they have Virginia, but Pennsylvania's still up in the air. New Hampshire seems to be leaning towards Trump, and Michigan seems to be leaning towards Trump. No, I don't think so at all. You know, we've been talking now for 6 months about what is Donald Trump's path to the presidency. At some point, we're going to approach the period where it's a question of, does she have a path to the presidency? If she can't win Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Michigan, much less Wisconsin, Brooklyn, we have a problem.
Yeah, she's got to win those states, Dana.
Well, on that note, I'm just looking at a note from a Clinton aide saying that they are breathing a slight sigh of relief because of Colorado and Virginia. They do have to hold the upper Midwest, Wisconsin and Michigan, which, as you said, who knew, particularly Wisconsin, it was going to be this tight.
The Republicans didn't even think they were going to win Wisconsin a few days ago.
As I said, Donald Trump had been going there, much to the chagrin of others. And one more thing, I just want to say that as far as the Clinton path, win Pennsylvania and either New Hampshire or Nevada. One other thing, look at this picture. This is something that I think is quite poignant at this hour. 2 hours ago at 8:55 p.m. Eastern, the Clinton team tweeted this out. It says, "This team has so much to be proud of. Whatever happens tonight, thank you for everything." And this picture of Hillary Clinton embracing this young girl, you know, if she pulls this out, this is a picture that says, I did it for you. If she doesn't, it's a picture that says, I'm so sorry I tried. And it's so poignant that they sent this out 2 hours ago, and it can be read two very different ways.
One of the things we saw in the exit polls was that women were not voting for Hillary Clinton in the numbers that polls suggested they would. She was not getting the gender gap that so many anticipated. But let's talk about the response of world markets, because those are some other individuals who are having trouble breathing right now. You see the world markets in Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong are down. And the last I saw, it was more than 600 points. The Dow futures were down, again, because of, A, the instability of the American election. Everyone thought, based on pollsters and prognosticators, that they knew how this was going to end up. And B, because of Donald Trump himself, who is a wild card and has been talking tough on trade. There's a reason why Wall Street supported Hillary Clinton much more strongly than they supported Donald Trump. And we're going to see he's talking about renegotiating trade deals with China, with Mexico, and others. There's a lot more uncertainty in the world right now.
Lots of uncertainty in the world. The world was watching. I think most of the world thought that Hillary Clinton had it locked up. Not so fast right now. Let's get another key race alert right now. All right now it's all about Michigan and Wisconsin. Right now, let's update you in Michigan first. For almost half of the vote is now in. Donald Trump still has a lead, 30,451. Donald Trump's lead in Michigan right now, 30,400 plus, 48.1% to 46.8% for Hillary Clinton. 16 electoral votes, very important electoral states votes at stake in Michigan. In Wisconsin, 58% of the vote is in. Trump has a lead there, almost 60,000 vote lead over Hillary Clinton, 49.1% to 45.7%. 10 electoral votes at stake in Wisconsin. Both of these campaigns desperately anxious to win both of these states. So, John, who would have thought that at this late hour we'd be talking about Wisconsin and Michigan?
And I'm looking at Wayne County again. This is where Detroit is. And you see Secretary Clinton's lead here. That's what, 136 plus 3, so 139. I'm going to look at the numbers to make sure I get them exactly right. Mitt Romney, Barack Obama race 4 years ago, Wolf. Just want to make sure I get these numbers right, because Democrats are saying, can we pull this one out tonight? It was 381,000. So we got 40% still to count. 667. That was the margin. We're going to talk about this in Philadelphia when we go back to Pennsylvania. Democrats need to run it up. 381,000. Now, we've got 40% of the precincts still to count. So we got a lot of votes that still come in, and they could come in from inner city Detroit, and maybe we'll get there. But 381,000 plus, she's way short where we are right now. So the question is, can she get here? Can she get here as we get there, as we pull this back out? We're up to 49% of the vote now, and 48, 46. Is it doable? Is the math doable? Yes. Other Democratic areas, we're still looking for votes here. We'll see, a long way to go. But this is going to come down to turnout right here in Wayne County, Michigan, and
let's screen Michigan. Let's screen Michigan right now to see where the outstanding vote is, and we can do this. This is 75% or less of the vote has already been counted.
All right, so you pull back to the state now. So you're looking at places, and again, so if you're a Republican, you're looking and you're saying there are a lot of Republican votes to come in here, and that's what they're thinking in the Trump campaign, that even if they come in with the last 40% and it's overwhelming, in the Trump campaign, they're saying, look, we got a lot of votes to get here. Now, these are small counties, but, again, you're at 63%, and that's 4,000 plus 43. So he's going to get some more here. He's going to get at least hundreds more, maybe 1,000 more. You look at here, Donald Trump's going to get more here. Again, if the margin holds up. There's no guarantee the margins stay the same. We don't know the precincts that are out. But if you notice a pattern through these counties, Donald Trump's getting 50 plus. In some of them, he's getting 55. 38% of the vote in, 61% of the vote in. So you pull this back out. There are a lot of Republican votes still to come in if the counties keep trending the way they are right now. Again, no guarantee of that. But when you start to get this far up in the state, and so this comes down. This state and perhaps the presidency comes down to Wayne County, Michigan at the moment, where we are at 58% of the vote, and Hillary Clinton is well shy of the margin Democrats need out of Detroit to help them offset gains elsewhere. And again, Wolf, we're consistently seeing this. She is underperforming in the Democratic base areas.
All right, we have another major projection right now. CNN now projects that Donald Trump will carry the state of North Carolina with its 15 electoral votes. Another important win for Donald Trump in the state of North Carolina. 93% of the vote is in. You see he's up by more than 220,000 votes. Donald Trump carries North Carolina. So let's take a look at the electoral map, where it stands right now with this win for Donald Trump in North Carolina. Hillary Clinton is ahead, but slightly. She has 190 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 186 electoral votes, 270. That's the number you need to win the White House. You see the blue states are the states for Hillary Clinton, the red states, the state for Donald Trump. All those yellow states, by the way, too early to call. We are not yet able to make projections in those states. But Jake, this is a huge win for Donald Trump in North Carolina.
It's big. The Trump people were competing hard for it. It's a state that Donald Trump put his heart and soul into. President Obama won it in 2008. He lost it to Mitt Romney in 2012. And I think, you know, just to give you an idea of how this night is going compared to how the Clinton campaign thought it was going to go, we were reporting, Jeff Zeleny, one of our Clinton campaign reporters, said that Robbie Mook, the Clinton campaign manager, was saying that North Carolina was so tight it was going to be down to the wire. It might not even be called tonight. Well, it's 11:09 and we just called it. That says to me that their projections were off and their voter data file was wrong, and people came out to vote and vote for Donald Trump that they didn't think were going to.
That's right. And look, when we began to see the exit polls about the demographics and how these votes turned out the way they did, we'll see what really made this happen. But just in my experience being in North Carolina, Hillary Clinton.
That mean it's enough? We'll wait till they come in to do the math. But she has closed significantly in the state of Michigan, and we watched that one. So now we're going to go over here to Wisconsin. 49 to 46, if you round that up, 65% of the vote. You're in the Trump campaign headquarters. You're starting to look. What are we looking for? I just want to come down here to Milwaukee County, 17% roughly the state population. We're at 87% county-wide. Again, what we're being told from the Clinton war, Michigan and Wisconsin. We'll see what happens as we get closer to these. You know, if she can come back in Michigan where she is right now, then these smaller states, Iowa was blue earlier. Donald Trump's now leading in Iowa. That had been blue in the early count. Donald Trump has pulled ahead in Iowa. I was just in touch with a Democrat and a Republican in the state of Iowa. They're pretty confident, both of them. The Democrats discouraged by this, don't get me wrong, but that they believe Donald Trump is going to win Iowa as he won Ohio. Those are the two states. These are two Obama states that Donald Trump looks like he's poised to flip. So we could come down to out here in Nevada, and we're still counting the votes in New Hampshire. It's 64%, 48 to 46. This is going to be key. We still have absolutely nothing.